Even the developers behind Mortal Kombat Legacy have admitted their mistakes, something that's been evident in several posts on X, formerly Twitter. The rush to release the game may have ruined everything. This raises the question, was Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection rushed out as a commercial stopgap after the disappointing performance of Mortal Kombat 1 2023? The expectations were sky high. The Legacy Collection was supposed to gather the classic Mortal Kombat titles into a definitive collection, a nostalgic celebration of the franchise's glory days in arcades and early consoles. When it was first announced, fans imagined an epic tribute to the series' long history. However, what should have been a love letter to the past turned into one of gaming's biggest recent disappointments in several aspects. As soon as Mortal Kombat's Legacy Collection hit the shelves, frustration began to spread across the community. Players noticed input delay, the dreaded input lag, making fights feel sluggish and unresponsive. The online mode, which was supposed to be the highlight for those eager to relive legendary duels, suffered from severe issues, including disconnections and unstable servers. Even offline play, which was expected to be more stable, was plagued by technical problems and inconsistent performance. Many fans commented that the collection felt nothing more than a cheap, poorly made emulator. The situation became so serious that players began demanding refunds. Many claimed the product felt unfinished and that the promise to faithfully revive nostalgia sounded more like false advertising. The disappointment hit even harder because the Mortal Kombat fanbase has always been one of the most loyal in gaming. They expected something worthy of the franchise's legacy. Instead, they got a confusing, inconsistent collection that failed to honor the weight the Mortal Kombat name carries. The result was a collective feeling of frustration. The game meant to celebrate the past ended up tarnishing the present. Let's take a closer look at what went wrong, why the emulation became the center of controversy, and what fans truly expected from this supposed tribute to the legacy of the Mortal Kombat tournament. The release of Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection on October 30th, 2025 was supposed to be a historic moment for fans. The collection promised to bring together the franchise's classic games with online modes and new features, a true celebration of the series' 30th anniversary. But what was meant to be a nostalgic tribute ended up becoming one of the most controversial releases of the year. Within just hours of its launch, players began reporting a flood of technical issues: input lag, connection failures, bugs, performance drops, and even full crashes on modern consoles. Social media was soon filled with videos showing unbalanced fights, glitchy menus, and desynchronized animations. The dream of the Ultimate Collection quickly turned into frustration. The so-called input lag, the delay between a player's command and the game's response, became one of the main points of criticism toward Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection. In a fighting game where reflexes and precision are everything, even a few milliseconds of delay can completely ruin the experience. Players reported that even in offline matches, the lag was noticeable, creating a sense of sluggishness and lack of control over the characters. This kind of problem isn't new, but it has an especially negative impact on titles that rely on perfect timing, such as the classic Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and Ultimate 3. The biggest frustration comes from the contrast between the promise of faithfully reviving the original games and the disappointing reality, where controls feel unresponsive and delayed. When an attack doesn't execute at the right moment, or a combo is broken due to the system's lack of responsiveness, what should have been a nostalgic experience quickly turns into frustration. The source of the input lag could be linked to the emulator used, the extra layers of processing added by modern platforms, or simply poor optimization of the original arcade emulation. Whatever the cause, the result is the same: a sense of disconnection between the player and the game. This kind of technical flaw breaks immersion and undermines the audience's trust in these types of re-releases. In that sense, input lag becomes more than just a technical issue. It's a symbol of carelessness in development. A fighting game demands precision, fluidity, and immediacy. When those elements are missing, all that's left is the appearance of nostalgia, without the soul that once made those battles so intense and memorable. Many fans felt that the Legacy Collection had been rushed, lacking the polish a name like Mortal Kombat deserves. The disappointment was reflected in the reviews. Within less than 48 hours, the game had accumulated a flood of negative feedback on Steam and across Warner Bros. Social media channels. The message was clear. Players didn't just
just want nostalgia. They wanted respect for the franchise's legacy. Even so, some defended the project, pointing out that revisiting a classic is always a technical and emotional challenge. But one thing is undeniable. The chaotic launch of Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection became a turning point, raising an uncomfortable question. Do companies truly understand the weight that nostalgia carries for fans? Many believe these problems are tied to the failure of Mortal Kombat 1. When Mortal Kombat 1 was released in 2023, expectations were sky high. Fans believed it would enjoy a long support cycle, with new characters, extra story chapters, and consistent updates over time. But what actually happened was the opposite. In 2025, NetherRealm Studios officially confirmed that the title would no longer receive additional content, ending its life cycle earlier than expected. Shortly afterward, Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection was announced, and it didn't take long for fans to connect the dots. The collection seemed less like a carefully planned project and more like a quick commercial patch. That theory quickly gained traction within the community. The logic was simple. With MK1 losing relevance faster than anticipated, the studio needed to release something to keep the Mortal Kombat brand visible until the next major game. The problem is that Legacy Collection didn't deliver the polished experience fans were hoping for. With reports of input delay, visual inconsistencies, and a problematic online mode, the launch felt rushed, as if it had been pushed to market simply to fill a gap. This kind of strategy, while common in the gaming industry, damages a franchise's reputation. Longtime fans feel disrespected when it seems the focus has shifted from quality to meeting sales schedules. Even those who appreciated the collection admitted it lacked the shine a 30-year celebration deserved. Ultimately, Legacy Collection came to symbolize a broader creative fatigue within major studios. When planning fails, nostalgia becomes the bandage. And although the Mortal Kombat name still carries immense weight, the community made it clear they won't accept rushed products made only to fill the fiscal calendar.
Digital Eclipse, the developer behind Legacy Collection, has earned major prestige in the industry for transforming classic games into true interactive historical experiences. The company's mission is to present these titles as museum pieces, offering interviews, behind-the-scenes content, and original documents. This approach was widely praised in collections like Atari 50 and The Making of Karateka, showcased the studio's commitment to the cultural preservation of video games. However, that same style also led to what fans now call the beautiful museum bad game effect. The issue is that by prioritizing historical content, Digital Eclipse often neglects the most crucial aspect for many players: gameplay quality. In titles that rely on precision and lightning-fast reflexes, like the classic fighting games of the Mortal Kombat series, even the slightest input delay can ruin the experience. That's why the most common criticism is that their collections are amazing to watch but disappointing to play. The visuals, menus, and behind-the-scenes materials are impressive, but the emulation often suffers from lag, crashes, and a lack of authenticity compared to the original arcade versions. The release of Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection exposed this weakness. Many fans praised the abundance of extras and the historical value of the package, yet reported that the gameplay failed to capture the original arcade fluidity. It felt as though the focus was more on celebrating the past than reliving it. This contrast highlights a crucial dilemma in video game preservation. Is it possible to balance history and fun? Digital Eclipse has succeeded in creating true digital museums, but it still needs to prove that it can merge memory and performance in the same project, especially when players want to feel, not just remember, what made these games legendary.
In recent years, classic game collections have become a highly profitable business, and Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection is the perfect example of how that trend can spiral out of control. What was once an opportunity to preserve gaming history has now, for many players, become just another way for companies to cash in on nostalgia. The promise to relive the classics often hides the real goal: to resell decades-old content with minimal actual improvement. What keeps repeating itself is that collections that bundle old versions of iconic games are released at premium prices but bring little to no technical innovation. Worse yet, in many cases, their performance is even worse than that of free fan-made emulators available online. In the case of Legacy Kollection, many players pointed out that the official emulation doesn't offer the same level of accuracy or stability that fan projects have provided for years, at no cost. It feels as though companies have realized the power of nostalgia, but forgotten about respecting their audience. Instead of delivering optimized versions that meet today's standards of quality, they rely on players' emotions and fond memories to secure quick launch sales. It's what many call easy profit, selling memories without any real technical effort. This crisis in modern game collections raises an inevitable question. How long will players keep paying high prices for recycled products? The digital era has given the public the power to compare, test, and expose flaws in real time. And Mortal Kombat Legacy Kollection, despite its historical value, has become a symbol of that fatigue. Nostalgia sells, but honoring a legacy requires much more than simply repackaging the past.
One major issue that stands out is the gap between media reviews and player feedback. The release of Mortal Kombat Legacy Kollection exposed a growing divide between what professional critics write and what players actually experience. Right after launch, several gaming websites and outlets published glowing reviews, praising the collection as a flawless tribute to the franchise's legacy. Scores were high, and the articles emphasized its cultural value and the studio's effort to preserve gaming history. Meanwhile, the players who actually bought the game were reporting a completely different reality: crashes, unstable online matches, and, most notably, noticeable input delay, a serious problem in any fighting game. For many fans, that disconnect felt like a betrayal. How could a game that barely responds to commands receive such enthusiastic praise? Social media and gaming forums quickly filled with backlash, accusing the gaming press of being complicit, or at the very least shallow, in their analysis. Veteran players argued that critics seemed to ignore the competitive side of fighting games, focusing only on visuals and bonus features instead of testing the real experience of those who spend hours battling online. This situation sparked an important question about the role of gaming journalism. Should it evaluate a product as a cultural artifact or as a functioning game? Many outlets chose to highlight the historical content of the collection, forgetting that what keeps a franchise alive is its gameplay. To fans, Legacy Kollection didn't need to be a beautiful museum, it needed to be playable. The result was a widespread sense of frustration. Trust in media scores plummeted, and players began relying more on community reviews and online discussions. Mortal Kombat Legacy Kollection ultimately became a symbol of this growing rift between critics and audiences, a reminder that no amount of praise for menus or extras can ever replace the importance of the actual experience of playing. Another problem caused by the game was the internal conflict it sparked within the fan base. With the release of Mortal Kombat Legacy Kollection, a clear rift emerged inside the community itself, the growing divide between casual players and longtime veterans. What was once a group united by nostalgia and love for the classics turned into a heated battleground of opinions. On one side are the casual players, who see the collection as a celebration of the franchise's history, a visually beautiful tribute filled with extras and documentary-style content. On the other side are the veterans, the ones who played Mortal Kombat in the arcades and demand precision, responsiveness, and authenticity in gameplay. Casual players tend to forgive the technical issues, arguing that what matters most is reliving the experience and remembering the iconic characters. Veterans, however, find it unacceptable for a fighting game to suffer from input delay, inconsistent controls, or flawed emulation. To them, Mortal Kombat has always been about reflexes and skill, and any delay, no matter how small, destroys the essence of combat. This clash of expectations has created a silent war across social media and forums. Many seasoned players feel ignored by the industry, which they believe now prioritizes aesthetics and nostalgia over performance. Meanwhile, casual fans accuse veterans of being overly demanding and of killing the fun with their technical complaints. The result is a standoff that reflects a broader issue in modern gaming: the struggle to balance nostalgic appeal with competitive depth. Legacy Collection could have united generations of players, but instead it highlighted a division that had been growing for years. In the end, what should have been a reunion between fans of different eras became yet another arena, not of virtual combat, but of real-world opinions and frustrations.
After so many debates about bugs, performance issues, and controversial collections, one question has become inevitable: what do fans truly want from Mortal Kombat? Surprisingly, the answer is simpler than most might think: authenticity. The community wants the franchise to honor its brutal and creative essence without relying solely on nostalgia or endlessly repeating past successes. At the same time, they don't want drastic new directions that strip away what makes Mortal Kombat unique, something many felt happened with Mortal Kombat 1. Veteran players who have followed the series since its arcade days in the 90s ask for a solid, fluid, and deep gameplay experience. They want balanced mechanics, functional training modes, and stable online play, something that allows competitive scenes to thrive without technical frustrations. Meanwhile, casual fans, drawn in by the cinematic appeal of recent games, crave engaging stories, charismatic characters, and a progression system that rewards their time. Deep down, everyone agrees on one thing: Mortal Kombat needs to rediscover its sense of innovation. The franchise has always been a symbol of boldness. It introduced digitized blood, fatalities, and cinematic story modes. Today, many feel that spark is fading amid rushed business decisions and uninspired releases. The future of the series depends on listening to this passionate fan base. Players don't just want to collect memories, they want to be surprised again. They want each new title to exist for a greater purpose than simply filling a market gap. If NetherRealm understands that, Mortal Kombat could not only survive this turbulent phase, but be reborn stronger than ever, staying true to the artistic violence and creativity that made it a legend in gaming.